Here's something that should make you uncomfortable. If you took every single dollar in circulation in America and split it evenly between every adult, almost everyone in this country would be a millionaire overnight. And within a decade, most of that money would end up back in the same hands it started in. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's a documented result from actual wealth redistribution studies. Give broke people money, and statistically, most of them end up broke again. Give rich people nothing, and statistically, most of them end up rich again. So the real question isn't, how do I get money? The real question is, what do rich people know, or do, or believe, that makes wealth stick to them like a magnet, while it slides off everyone else like water on a windshield? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly which category you're in right now, and more importantly, the 3 specific decisions standing between you and the first one. Let's talk about the average American for a second, because chances are, this is you, or someone you know. You've got a job, maybe a decent one. You bring in somewhere between $50,000 and $90,000 a year, which, on paper, sounds like real money. You're not reckless. You're not buying yachts. You pay your bills. You've got a Netflix subscription. Maybe you invest a little in your 401k because your HR department told you to. And yet, the median net worth for Americans under 35 is around $39,000. Not $39,000 in savings. $39,000 total. House equity, car, retirement account, everything, minus debt. Meanwhile, the guy who owns the car dealership you bought your Honda from, multi-millionaire. The lady who owns 3 laundromats in your town, the ones you've probably never even looked twice at, multi-millionaire. It's not that these people are smarter than you. Many of them didn't even finish college. Here's the metaphor that's going to unlock this whole video for you. Think of wealth like water pressure in a hose. Most people are working incredibly hard turning the faucet. That's their job, their salary, their hustle. But there's a leak in the hose. And no matter how hard you crank that faucet, if the leak is big enough, you're never filling the bucket. Rich people didn't necessarily turn the faucet harder. They fixed the leak. And in a few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly where that leak is hiding in your own financial life, because it's probably not where you think. Let's kill the biggest myth first. You've probably assumed that becoming a millionaire is about income. It's not. There are dentists and lawyers pulling in $200,000 a year, who are one missed paycheck away from disaster, because their lifestyle expanded exactly as fast as their income did. There are plumbers and electricians, pulling in $70,000 a year sitting on $800,000 in investments, because they never let their spending catch up to their earning. Financial researchers Thomas Stanley and William Danko actually studied this for years and published their findings in The Millionaire Next Door. Their findings shocked everyone. The majority of American millionaires don't look like millionaires. They drive Toyotas. They live in the same modest house for 30 years. They clip coupons. Meanwhile, the guy leasing the BMW and living in the nice apartment downtown often has a negative net worth. So if it's not about income, what is it about? That brings us to the leak in the hose. And the leak has a name. It's called lifestyle creep, and it is, without exaggeration, one of the most effective wealth destruction mechanisms in modern American life. It works like this. You get a raise. Congratulations. You now make $5,000 more a year. What happens next? Almost invisibly, your rent gets a little nicer. Your car payment gets a little higher. You start ordering DoorDash instead of cooking. None of these decisions feel reckless in the moment. Each one, individually, seems completely reasonable. But here's the trap. Your savings rate, the actual percentage of income you keep, barely moves. Sometimes it goes backward. You can literally triple your income over a decade and end up with less wealth than when you started, because every single dollar increase got matched by a dollar of new necessary spending. And this isn't an accident. The entire American advertising and credit industry is a multi-hundred-billion-dollar machine built for one purpose: convincing you that your current lifestyle is inadequate the moment you can afford slightly more than you have. Every algorithm on your phone is optimized to make you feel like you're falling behind unless you buy something right now. But that wasn't even the part that traps most people the hardest. Here's a number that should genuinely disturb you. The average credit card interest rate in America right now sits north of 20%. 20%. Do you understand what that means mathematically? If you carry a $5,000 balance and only make minimum payments, you could end up paying back more than double that original amount over time, just in interest. Meanwhile, the stock market's long-term historical average return is around 10% a year before inflation. So here's the brutal math nobody explains to you in school. Every dollar you carry in high-interest debt is actively fighting against every dollar you're trying to invest. and the debt is winning by a factor of 2. This is why so many hardworking Americans feel like they're running on a treadmill. They are investing with one hand while bleeding out with the other, and the bleeding is always faster than the healing. But even this, the debt, the lifestyle creep, still isn't the deepest layer. There's something underneath both of these that explains why some people escape this trap almost effortlessly, while others stay stuck for their entire lives. Here's the actual dividing line between people who build wealth and people who don't. It has nothing to do with intelligence, luck, or even hard work. It's a difference in how they see money itself. Most people are what I'll call paycheck thinkers. Their entire financial strategy is work harder, get promoted, earn more, repeat. Their income is directly tied to hours they personally show up and perform labor. The moment they stop working, the income stops. This is a ceiling. There are only so many hours in a day, and there's a hard limit to how much any single human can be paid per hour of effort, no matter how skilled. Wealthy people, on the other hand, are asset thinkers. At some point, usually early, they shift from asking, "How can I earn more?" to asking, "What can I own that earns money without me?" A rental property earns rent whether you're asleep or awake. A stock portfolio earns dividends whether you're on vacation or at your desk. A small business, once it's systemized, can generate revenue even when the owner isn't physically present. This is the actual mechanism behind almost every self-made millionaire story in America. It's rarely one big lottery ticket win. It's the slow, boring compounding of owning assets over 15, 20, 30 years, while everyone else was trading hours for dollars and spending those dollars as fast as they arrived. And here's the part almost nobody tells you, the part that explains why this feels so slow and unsatisfying in the moment. Compound growth is almost invisible for the first 10 years. If you start investing $500 a month at 25 years old, by year 10, you might only have around $100,000. Doesn't feel like millionaire status yet, right? But by year 30, assuming that same modest average market return, that number crosses $1.3 million. The first 10 years feel like nothing is happening. The last 10 years feel like magic. But it's the exact same math, the entire time. This is why most people quit. They give up in year 7, convinced the system doesn't work for them, right before the curve was about to bend upward. The millionaires who got lucky usually just didn't quit during the boring part. So now you understand the leak, the debt trap, and the asset mindset shift. But there's one more piece, the piece that actually connects all of this together into something you can act on starting today. Here's how this actually comes together. Becoming a millionaire in America isn't a mystery, and it's not reserved for the lucky or the highly educated. It comes down to closing 3 gaps, in this exact order. First, you find the leak. Before you invest a single dollar, you track where your money actually goes for one full month, without judgment, just observation. Almost everyone who does this seriously finds at least $100 to $300 a month bleeding out through subscriptions, fees, or lifestyle spending that quietly crept up without them noticing. Second, you kill the high-interest debt before you do almost anything else. Mathematically, paying off a 20% interest credit card is the equivalent to finding a guaranteed 20% investment return. There is no stock, no crypto, no real estate deal in America that reliably beats that. This isn't emotional advice. It's just arithmetic. Third, and this is the step that actually builds the million, you automate the shift from paycheck thinker to asset owner. Not someday, not when you have extra. You set up an automatic transfer, the day your paycheck lands, before you see the money, before your brain gets a chance to justify spending it, into an index fund, a retirement account, anything that owns a piece of a money-making machine. Even if it's just $50 to start, the amount matters far less than the habit, because the habit is what survives the boring middle years, when nothing seems to be happening. That's it. That's the entire secret that separates the 8% from everyone else. It's not a secret at all, really. It's boring, unglamorous, and it takes decades, not weeks. But it's also completely available to almost anyone reading this right now, regardless of what your paycheck currently says. Look, I'm not going to pretend this is easy, because it's not. Fixing the leak means having some uncomfortable conversations with yourself about spending. Killing debt means delayed gratification in a culture that hates delayed gratification. And investing through the boring years means trusting a process that won't reward you for a very long time. But now you know the difference between the people who stay stuck and the people who don't. It was never really about luck. So here's what I want to know from you, down in the comments. What's your leak? What's the one lifestyle expense you know, deep down, is quietly draining your bucket every single month? Be honest. I'll go first in the replies. If this video actually shifted something for you, Do me a favor and hit that like button. It tells YouTube to put this in front of more people who need to hear it, and costs you nothing. And if you want the next video, where I break down exactly which investment accounts to open first, and in what order, hit subscribe, cause that one's coming next week. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.